let's start, first of all, understanding what is Trump. Trump is a representative of the deep state of America. Our fight is not with Zionism only, it is with Zionism and with imperialism. From the High Court, International High Court, and no one implemented anything. Today, the international pressure and law is the law of the strong. The same faith is always one option. But if you do not struggle, you will not face only the same, but you move with your both legs towards hell, towards destruction, towards expulsion, towards ethnic cleansing. If you do not resist, you will be in a bad situation.
I just wonder because I can't really imagine that what it means for you and so many others to live in this fear.
When Palestinians fight between each other, having the occupation around them, it's unacceptable. How do people react to this behavior, let's call it, of the Palestinian Authority?
But the problem in Palestine, as I told Adeeb earlier, is that all life is controlled by the Palestinian Authority. And the Palestinian Authority does not want any Palestinian reaction to what is happening. If you pour the water in the glass and it is full, then water will come out. And I think we are reaching the point where everything has reached up to a high level of water in the cup.
We are all Palestinians. In 1,000, in a million. We are all Palestinians. Free, free. Palestine. Free, free. Palestine. Free, free. Palestine. Free, free.
Come on.
What is it like to live in Ramallah in the West Bank at the moment? What do Palestinians make of Trump's claim that Gaza should be turned into the Riviera of the Middle East, but without Palestinians living there? What conversations are happening amongst Palestinians in the West Bank about the future of Palestine?
Welcome, everyone. Our friends, our comrades, our sisters and brothers all over the world. In our our second episode of the channel, We Are All Palestinians. We are here to discuss all the topics that have been announced by Andreas. It's me, Adeeb Shaheen. I'm one of the active fighters, let's say, in Nottingham with Andreas and lots of others for the freedom of Palestine, for the freedom of everyone all over the world. And I'm happy to introduce to you my old friend and our comrade in this all over the world struggle for peace and justice and equality all over the world for a better world to live in. So my first, Anwar Khoury is an active fighter, let's call him. I love this word for justice in Palestine. He is a member of the Palestinian Communist Party and, of course, part of the broad anti-occupation movement in Palestine. I knew Anwar for a long time, very long time, that I won't be talking about this. The long time, you will say that I am very old. So we are both old. So it's a very nice occasion to welcome Anwar Khoury to talk to us about his life, about all what we have been talking about just now. And the first question is, what is it like to live in the West Bank, in Ramallah, especially in the last couple of months, especially the last few months? And what do you see? How do people see the situation now? How do people live in Ramallah, in the West Bank now? Please, Anwar.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, comrades and friends. Ramallah is considered as somehow the capital of the Palestinian Authority. Living in Ramallah is not that bad. The problem is not in Ramallah. The problem is outside. If I have in my work to move from Ramallah to Nablus, which is the city of Adeeb, I pass through more than 5 blockades, armed blockades. If I want to, my products, you see, I work in a factory, pharmaceutical manufacturing factory, to North Palestine or to Northwest Bank or to Southwest Bank, people leave the factory at 3 o'clock in the morning so they can manage to be at 10 o'clock in their destination, knowing that the distance is not more than 60, 70 kilometers. The longest is to Hebron, and it's 70, 75 kilometers. Things went bad starting from October 7th, and even a little bit earlier with this government, which is which is a coalition between the religious Zionists and the Zionists, the religious fascists and the Zionists. The ministers who are responsible for prisons and for the West Bank are the well-known Ben Gvir and Smotrich, who are implementing the most savage and fascist acts upon the Palestinians. So life in Ramallah is connected with what is happening surrounding. You see, we have workers working, living in villages around less than 15 kilometers. Sometimes it takes them more than 3 hours to reach their work. We have workers who left the afternoon, the factory, and reached their homes at 3 o'clock in the morning. And we are talking about villages nearby Ramallah. We are not talking about cities like Jenin, Tulkarem, Kalkilia, or Hebron. In a very, very, let's say, they are in a considerable, how do you call it, Adeeb? Considerable distance from Ramallah. People see this thing, they react. But the problem in Palestine, as I told Adeeb earlier, is that all life is controlled by the Palestinian Authority. And the Palestinian Authority does not want any Palestinian reaction to what is happening. They are using force to stop any reaction. The security connection with the Israelis.
Cooperation with the Israelis, yeah.
Security cooperation with the Israelis. There is a big problem in the Palestinian life. Political organizations are not facing the problem. Eventually, they are helping the Palestinian authorities in calming the people. And this is one of our biggest problems which we are facing. We have got in touch with some of them. And they say something, and when they go and meet with Abbas, they say something else. There is no confidence between people and these organizations. And by the way, these organizations are supposed to be a big organization.
So can you explain that a bit? Which organizations
we are talking about? The Democratic Front, the Popular Front, the People's Party, and others. But these are, and FIDA, an organization, 3 of them are in the لجنة التنفيذية.
The executive
committee of the PLO.
Palestinian Authority.
Palestinian Authority. Not Palestinian Authority.
No,
PLO,
the Palestinian Liberation Organization.
Palestinian Liberation Organization, which is supposed, according to Oslo Accord, to be controlling the Palestinian Authority. But what is happening is the vice versa. Palestinian Authority, through money, is controlling the parties and the PLO.
Yeah.
I don't know, Adeeb, if there are, you know the situation. If there are things, other things that should be said.
Okay, no problem. Just you have said a lot about the life of people, of the daily life of people. That's okay. Well, I think the next question is about Trump. I think. Don't you see that, Andreas? It's yours. It's your question, isn't it?
It's Anwar's question. It's Anwar's
Yeah.
question. I think Anwar wants to discuss Trump's remarks
Well,
about basically ethnically cleansing Palestine and building Gaza as a place to hang out for the kind of global capitalist class.
well, let's start first of all understanding what is Trump. Trump is a representative of the deep state of America. This is what Americans thought about even when Biden was governor. They wanted to get rid of Palestinians in Gaza, and not only in Gaza, but in the West Bank. This is goes with, according to the Zionist plan to clear this area between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea, clear it from its own natives and implement their state upon it. They managed somehow to do that in the borders of 1948, out of 850 to 900,000 people living in Palestine then, 120,000 stayed, and the rest were thrown out. And they are planning to do this thing in Gaza. And basically, if this plan gets on, this means that there will be no Palestinian in this part of the world. Or let's say, a small amount of Palestinians.
Yeah, Palestinians will be all around the world except in Palestine.
Except in Palestine. What Trump is a real estate trader. He looks at Gaza as a piece of land, and he does not look at Gaza as land with its own people upon it. When he offered this offer, he thought that with a bunch of dollars, he can buy the land by the will of the Palestinian people to stay in their land. Since the ceasefire, what happened is the people who were thrown out of northern Gaza district to the south, walking, and we are talking about around 20 kilometers, they went back with their tents, put them nearby their houses, and said, here or die. We'll stay in our land. And this eventually blocked Trump's plan. He tried to persuade Egypt and Jordan to open the borders so they can throw the Palestinians outside of Gaza area. But what happened is this: Egyptian people started from all around Egypt to the Gaza-Egypt borders shouting, no expelling, no ethnic cleansing. The Jordanians also did the same. This reaction of the people of Palestine and Egypt, plus the reaction of Palestinians refusing to leave their land, eventually blocked, for the moment, we don't know what will happen tomorrow, blocked Trump's plan. Trump thinks that we are a cattle in Texas, and they have to take us north to be sold and slaughtered. I don't think it will happen. Yes.
Okay, you see that there are ideas about that. I mean, this whole fantastic, let's say, in ideas, mad ideas of Trump and his people in the administration, in the American administration, it is unreal. It's trying to make people wish that something else could happen so as to stop this plan. And there are people who saying that this is meant to be the distraction so as to bring some other plan, which is the control of Sector Gaza by the Egyptian army and other forces from the Arab countries, and this will make people under the control of the under the control of the American system in the region. That is, I mean, the Egyptians, the Egyptian ruling regime, and the Jordanian one are not pro-Palestinian. They are just afraid about for themselves, for their own destiny, and they might be part of such a plan. What do you think about that?
I am sure that Abdullah, the king of Jordan, and Sisi, the president of Egypt, agree upon Trump's plan. They do not care. Even as an old friend of ours, me and Adeeb, used to say, late famous Salviti, this is a shop. They are using it upon our shoulders. But what happened is that the Egyptian people and the Jordanian people refused this, and this pushed the governments to take this stand.
Can I ask you something about so I mean Trump's plan? It's absurd. It's inhumane. It's criminal. But it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous because it sets the ground for an increasing dehumanization, and I just wonder, because I can't really imagine that what it means for you and so many others to live in this fear, not to know what's happening, not to know what the future will hold.
We're used to see blood. It is difficult to live, but this is our faith. We cannot change it. We have to fight to stop the bloodshed.
I was kind of asking you about how it must be so hard to be exposed to a situation that produces so much fear for your survival. I just wonder how you deal with this.
Facing the same faith is always one option. But if you do not struggle, you will not face only the same, but you move with your both legs towards hell, towards destruction, towards expulsion, towards ethnic cleansing. If you do not resist, you will be in a bad situation. It is not easy, but this is our faith.
I think I understand Andreas's question is about those who I mean, the Palestinian Authority and those who collaborate with the occupation by helping it to subjugate the Palestinian people. How could they decide to go on with that? We have seen the scenes of the Palestinian Authorities forces surrounding Jenin refugee camp. It's awful. I mean, and I have seen lots of also scenes about people getting killed on the hands of the Palestinian Authority security, so-called security forces. So this is very dangerous in Palestine. It has been all the time like that. I mean, when Palestinians fight between each other, having the occupation around them, it's unacceptable. How do people react to this behavior, let's call it, of the Palestinian Authority?
Well, before answering this question, I would like to prescribe or describe what is the character of the Palestinian Authority.
Sorry, I could not understand that. What is the character of?
Of the Palestinian Authority. What is it, the composed? How was it composed? Palestinian Authority was made through Oslo Accord. And Oslo Accord says that the Palestinian Authority is an autonomy authority under the Israeli rule. So eventually, that these people are employees through the Palestinian Authority, the so-called Palestinian Security Forces, through the Palestinian Authority, are employed by Israelis. And eventually, through Paris Accord, the payment of different of the taxes between bought and sold to Israel is part of the income of the Palestinians. And whenever Israelis want, they stop the money. So these employees are forced to listen to their leaders, otherwise they will starve.
Yes.
This is the character of the Palestinian Authority. For your piece of bread is very easy. It is not a political difference between those and the others. It is, how do you call it, masalih, Adeeb.
Interests.
Interests of those who are with the Palestinian Authority for their life. The other day I was discussing with one of those who came back after Oslo Accord, and he told me, although he was in Lebanon with the Democratic Front, he told me, I am with Oslo because I'm living from Oslo.
I am making my living out of Oslo. It looks
Out of
like, I
Oslo.
mean, yeah, it's,
So
he's,
it's not,
he's gaining. Yeah.
it is not a political difference. It is, as we said earlier, interests.
How influential is the kind of party that you're active in, the Palestinian Communist Party?
Well, we are a small part, but although we are small, our political point of view is heard. I do not say that we are very influential, but we have our part of people, of the population who understands and believes in what we are talking about.
Okay. What do you see? How do you see the situation further on? What do you foresee for the situation in Palestine, in Gaza, and the West Bank, everywhere in the future? What can you say about? I mean, how do you think? What's your vision of what's going on? What's going to happen in the future?
7th of October changed the whole vision in the, not even in West Bank, but in the world. It depends on us how we are going to ترجم. شو معنى الترجمة؟
Translate,
To translate,
to realize.
no, to translate what happened in the armed struggle, to translate it to political gains.
To transform, yeah.
To transform the army gains, the struggle, the resistance to a political gain. This depends on several things. First of all, our unity. Second of all, political leaders who are smart enough to deal with this game. And there is a big thing happening, is that the Israeli people, the Jews themselves, are resisting the policies of Netanyahu and his group. This is plus the international forces who are helping our struggle.
The solidarity movement.
Do you think
Yes.
that the pressure from within the Israeli society is enough, or is it does it have the enough power to do something to make a change inside Israel?
Not enough, but let's take as an example what happened since last Saturday, when Hamas, and first of all, Hamas represents all the armed forces in Gaza. It's not Hamas as an organization. So when the resistance said, we will not implement the agreed, we will not release those who are supposed to be released this Saturday, unless we have tents, graders, prefabricated houses, which are agreed in the agreement, we will not release them. What happened? Tel Aviv was closed by demonstrations, and Netanyahu, without announcing it, eventually did what was supposed to be done. The Israelis will not come with you until the end, the Jews. They are Zionists, but of
No.
course, they
Not
do
all of
not
them?
want to die. So, yes, up to a certain point, they are going to be on the side of the Palestinians until this was going to be happening, until the release of the last dead Israeli soldier in Gaza. Afterwards, it depends on us, on our struggle, on our unity, and on our smart way of acting to have a good how do you call it? نتيجة ناجحة.
Successful outcome.
Perspective results.
What
Yeah.
would a
See,
successful outcome look like for you? What's sort of the ideal way?
to start with, two-state solution. To start with. But my political point of view as a party, one-state solution. One state, democratic, one man, one vote. And of course, after the returning of all those who want to return from refuge to the Palestinian land.
About the two-state solution issue, are there, I mean, I've heard a lot of talks about this recently. Politicians all over the world talking about the two-state solution. Is that practical? Is that real? Can this be done? As you say, as a beginning, can this be done?
If there is the if,
Okay.
settlements stop
Stop what?
being expanding
Okay.
and even demolished, yes, it is. But with the situation, this moment, it is not. You see, if I go from Ramallah to Naples, I pass through more than 6 settlements. Afra, Labune, I don't remember the name. And they have a very big amount of piece of land. A state with unified borders is not under these conditions is not effective. That's why our party in 1916 had a conference and we decided 2016, sorry, not 1916, 2016, and we said we are for one state solution, democratic for all its people.
Again, what about the settlements? In any solution, I would want to know your.
Maybe they will be, you can stop their expansion, but not move. You see, West Bank is the basis of the Zionist idea. The Zionist idea is in Yehuda wa Samaria, Judea and Samaria, which is Nablus and Jerusalem. So they will not leave it unless they are forced to leave it. And they will not be forced to leave it if there is no resistance.
How about the international pressure? Could that help in this direction?
The only UN resolution which was implemented since it might not be the only, but one of the, if there is another resolution implemented, you could count them on your fingers of one of your hand. was 425. This resolution was withdrawal of Israeli army from southern Lebanon. It was in the early 70s, 72, 73, when they started the Saad Haddad's area. And it was implemented in 2000 by the force of Lebanese resistance. If there is no resistance, I don't think the international
Community.
international unity, international solidarity will help in stopping. You see, you have a decision about the separation wall in the West Bank from the High Court, International High Court, and no one implemented anything. Today, the international pressure and law is the law of the strong. And unfortunately, America, the USA, is backing Israel. It reached to a point that the judges who said that Netanyahu should be brought to the International Criminal Court are threatened by the USA government. And they are afraid, unless there is international front, anti-Zionist, that will push towards a peace accord. No settlements, nothing. And I believe up till now, although there is the big demonstrations in London and New York, everywhere in the world, up till now, they are not affecting the situation because America is standing, as Biden said, truly, fully behind Israel.
Yeah.
So our fight is not with Zionism only. It is with Zionism and with imperialism. Zionism is the representative of imperialism in our area. And frankly speaking, if we do not take Zionism to international court, Zionism, as the world took Nazism and fascism after Second World War to international court, the problem will be there. It is a fight between freedom forces and Zionism.
Okay, what about the unity between the factions of the PLO and everyone else in Palestine? I mean, what is being done in this direction to make people work together against the occupation? I mean, all the factions of PLO plus Hamas and Al Jihad.
Well, as I told you earlier about the Palestinian security and the interest in Palestine, there is a new class, the compradors. The compradors are controlling the economy of Palestine. These are not willing to give any of their benefits to anyone. The struggle between Hamas and Fatah, West Bank and Gaza, is not a political, it is economical. Who is going to control the money? Jihad is something else. Hamas controlled the tunnels, which was money making, took help from the Muslim Brotherhood, and eventually they built Gaza. And the Palestinian Authority getting control of banks, companies, telecoms, they are getting money and building their property, prosperity. When they came after Oslo, you've been there and you have seen it without shoes. And now they have Hammers and Range Rovers. So they are not going to leave this benefit for any cause. That's why they want the Oslo Accord. That's why they agreed on security arrangements with Israel. That's why, that's why.
Yeah, they are interested in this situation.
And the other parties, they get, how do you call it, the leftovers from the table, and they are happy. When the Democratic Front became vice presidents of National Congress, they took $20,000 more than they used to take. It is our so-called national forces, Corps Watani, haven't got anything to do with nationalism, with land. They are living upon the money given from the Palestinian Authority. Except
How is
the
this going to
Communist Party,
change?
except the Communist Party, whose income is from donations of the party members and friends. The others have appointed representatives in the government, employees have their income directly to the party, and they are not interested to lose their benefits.
So
I wonder
now,
how this can change. How when you say it will all, as soon as all the hostages are released, it all depends on the struggle of the Palestinians. But the fact that so many of the kind of big parties are actually bought,
Both, yes, both.
obey and accept the occupation. Where is the potential for resistance then?
yeah, because
If you walk in Ramallah and there is a demonstration in Main Square in Manara, the number of people who are in the demonstration is not more than 100 people.
100 people.
100, 150, 200 for you. But besides surrounding this demonstration are thousands of people who are walking around. The potential is in these people. If there is an election today, these parties will not fill a minibus, as we say. You know what I mean.
Which parties now?
The 13 parties who go to Pekin and come from Pekin, go to
Okay.
Cairo and come from Cairo, except Hamas and Jihad.
who will
All
people,
the others do not have popular support.
Wow.
This is our problem. What happened since Oslo came, let me say it in Arabic and help.
Say it.
أهروا
It's difficult. They just
prostituted
yes.
the mentality of the people.
Well, now it is, let's say, it's on stake the same the existence of the Palestinian people on their land. So isn't that enough for people to understand that it's time to move in a different way? It's the same existence of the Palestinian people on their land, on Palestine. It's in danger now. Isn't that enough for people to change? Isn't there a way to go out of that?
You have to take into consideration one basic thing. More than 500,000, see, more than that, give a straightforward number. 120,000 people are working in the security forces. This means if every member has a wife and one son, this is more than 500,000 people. If you take into consideration employees, teachers, doctors, telecoms, more than 1 million people are attached with the comprador and with the government. So these are out of the game.
But there are lots of them who don't receive even half of their salary for a long time. I know people that hasn't.
I know that, but they say having this little than not having anything.
So better to shut their mouths up.
Shut your mouth and keep working.
Yeah.
And there is another problem, which is very big. Salam Fayyad, the ex-prime minister, opened loans for people. There isn't any house in the West Bank who is not attached with the banks. I will work with the government and work as a taxi driver in the afternoon, so I will pay the loan for my house. It is very difficult. Our struggle here is very difficult.
I see.
Although this is the black story, I'm optimistic.
Okay, let's talk about optimism. At least in the end.
If you pour the water in the glass and it is full, then water will come out. And I think we are reaching the point where everything has reached up to a high level of water in the cup. What is missing now is a proper leadership. Leadership which will gain the trust of the people.
Well, is that being worked on? I mean, are there people who are working to gain this trust and to do something, to change something? I mean, you said that the Communist Party is a small party. The others, lots of others, are not influential because they are bought by the authority, by Mahmoud Abbas and his.
There is
Okay.
newly built movements who are gaining the trust of the people. These are as I believe, the hope of the future.
Who are they?
We as a party are members of several movements. I think things are moving slowly, very slowly, but are moving. And that's why I'm optimistic.
Name some of these movements.
طفح الكيل,
Uh-huh.
الحراك الشعبي للتغيير. These are two big ones.
The popular movement for change, and it's
the cup is full.
Yeah, something like that. We are fed up, might say.
Fed up.
And for how long have these movements existed? Have they been created since October 7, or was that
before, long before October 7, long before, 5 or 6 years before. What happened with the man who was assassinated? I don't remember his name now. When he was assassinated, people went into the streets by thousands.
Nizar Banat.
Nizar Banat.
Yeah.
This was because of the movement's action.
He
But
was
of course,
assassinated by the authority, by the Palestinian Authority, by the security forces.
Slaughtered, not assassinated. He was slaughtered. دبح يا زلمه بالعصي.
Yeah, they hit him. They took him from his house and they've beaten him to death. And that's a fact. It's not. I mean, everyone knows, and the Palestinian Authority are not. They don't say that they didn't do it.
By mistake, it happened.
Oh yeah, as they say.
Yes, as they say.
All right. So, well, let's hope that the movement is going to grow and be more powerful, and gain the trust of the Palestinian people. And we wish the Palestinian people the best in fighting the occupation. From our side here in Nottingham, and I think all over the world, people would be they would keep on fighting for the freedom of Palestine because it is connected to everyone's freedom all over the world. Thank
I have to
you.
say something. I have to say something before closing.
Please do.
What we see, and we are trying our best to do, is having a national front against occupation and Oslo, which will take the leadership of the area. This is what we are doing here now. We hope we can manage.
Okay.
I hope so too. I mean, this international fund is building, I think. If there is a massive international movement in support of a free Palestine, and it has never been as big as now, and I'm not aware of any social movement before that has been so strong, so global, so powerful. I think we have to hope that this movement will connect with the movements that you talked about that within Palestine and see if that will maybe strengthen all of us.
Hope so.
One question more, please, about BDS, the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement in the world. What do people think about that in Palestine?
You see, you are in my mind. I was thinking
Okay.
about BDS.
Yeah, good.
Look, in Palestine, people are with BDS, but there is a big problem you have to take into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
All our products are either from Israel or through Israel. So I don't have the choice between frozen food from an Arabic factory and an Israeli factory. I do not have the choice. If I want to buy frozen food, I have to buy the Israeli food.
Okay, there is
Oslo Accord, and Paris Agreement got tied our both hands, so we cannot have any independence. The only factories who are working now and are facing scientifically and economically the Israeli factories are the pharmaceutical factories. When the Palestinian Authority came, as there is a research by mass, we used to have several thousand workshops and factories. Most of them are closed, and those who are there changed their نشاطهم. شو معنى نشاطهم؟ Their activity
work.
from manufacturing to bringing products from outside and selling it. Trade. You have the choice in England, in Britain, to buy between the Israeli olive oil and the Tunisian olive oil. We do not have it.
Yeah, is there a movement? Is there a movement to improve the production or to change the attitude to the production of products inside Palestine? I know people who plant greenhouses, who try to renew the agriculture in Palestine, to do things that are not dependent. I understand that even any factory, even your factory in which you work, the pharmaceutical factory is dependent on the electricity. If the Israelis would cut the electricity, you would stop, wouldn't you? I mean, very simple thing. But on the other hand, you can work on things that can be done.
Our factory, but you see, our factory is not the factories. Our factory had photo cells for electric production.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever there is a cut of electricity in the West Bank, at least more than 8 hours, we can work without independent from the Israeli companies. But who else did this? Who else
Okay.
invested in this? No one.
This is,
See, you need to have open-minded people to do this, and they
yes,
are happy with the money they are gaining.
yeah, I agree.
Even the telecoms, they don't have their own generators for their machines, which is basics.
Yeah, without the international effort and international pressure on Israel, there is no way to get rid of the dependence on the Israeli economy. I agree with that, but there are things that are being done.
Yes, in
Of course,
agriculture, yes.
yes, I
In
know that.
agriculture, yes. And
Yeah.
that's why they are trying to صادروا شو معنى صادروا
Confiscate.
to confiscate the land in Jordan Valley.
Yeah. Yeah, they are trying to cut. I mean, for example, for your company also, it's not only the electricity; it's the raw
Raw
materials.
materials.
You
It is
have
like
you have lots of things that you have to import from outside
even
or from
exporting.
Israel.
Even exporting
Yes, it depends on the Israelis,
depends on the Israelis.
100%. Because without their
Even if you are
permission,
going to use Jordan as intermediate area, you have to pass the bridge, and the bridge is
yes,
controlled by Israel.
yes, the Israeli customs.
Israeli authorities.
Yes, that's right. So I got back to my first conclusions about this whole issue, that without international intervenence, nothing can happen there. Nothing.
Yes, but it's also interesting to see how what we're doing to try to damage the Israeli economy is at the same time damaging the life of Palestinians who depend on Israel. So it's kind of really
I understand you, but
mm,
the Israelis are destroying the lives of the Palestinians without consideration of anything else. I mean, they might live, and they used to live a perfect life, very good life, and making the lives of the Gazans in the first place miserable. And in the West Bank also, but Gaza was a very, I mean, severe case in before the 7th of October, a severe case of controlling everything that goes in and comes out, everything.
yeah.
And they were doing that through this same scheme of trying to kick out the people. This was 100 years ago, the plan, more than 100 years ago. This is the plan now, and it is going to go on
Yeah, of course.
in the future. That's something I am convinced of all the time. And
There is
what
something
we have,
else I want.
yeah, please.
Something else I want to tell our friend. How many people of the West Bank are working in Israel? Legally, they are more than 200,000 people. Illegally, they reach 400,000. Since October the
Without
7th,
permissions, this means
illegally
without
without
permissions
permission.
from the authorities, the Israeli authorities.
Since October the 7th, this was blocked
Totally.
nearly totally.
Hmm.
Some of them are smuggling and stay there in their work, do not leave, and their bosses bring them food. But they are always threatened if someone else knows that they will be taken to prison and thrown out. This is part of our problem. We do not have working class inside West Bank and Gaza. Our working class basically is working in Israel. And the wages are very high. If a Palestinian working in West Bank as a builder takes mostly 150 shekels, he takes 500 and 600 in Israel
Mhm.
Per day.
per day.
3 to 4 times.
3 to 4
Yeah.
times. That's why we have, plus the connection of people with the Palestinian Authority, which I talked about, we have this other problem that we do not have any basis to take these workers, even with lower wages. And this is
Yeah.
Paris agreement. We are tied with the Israeli economy.
Hmm.
Lots of things I talked about, I don't think you've heard about.
No, I've learned a lot. I have learned a lot from you. And, really thank you so much for taking, so much time to talk to us. It was great honor, great pleasure. And I hope we get more opportunities to discuss life in Palestine.
All right. So, thank you, Anwar. Hope to see
Thank
you
you.
soon. You're welcome.
Hope to see you
Greetings to
soon.
everyone.
Hope to see you soon. Maybe
Inshallah.
after the finishing of the agreement, we will talk about the future better.
Hopefully, yes.
Okay.
All right. You take care. Take care of yourself, of your family. And
Same to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Greetings
Bye.
to Anwar.
See you. Greetings to everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.